This is Dr. Daniel Knowles from Boulder, Colorado, and I am on the Mile High webinar with Scott Garber, who is I am a huge fan of, and I'm really delighted to be here with him today. And I think you are in for a fun, content-filled, exciting, uplifting few minutes here with us. Dr. Scott, it's so good to be here with you.
Hey, Danny, thank you, and thanks for taking the time out of your day to do this. I appreciate it.
You know, and the first thing I want to say is I love hearing your voice because I love the Northeast accent. Being
Uh-huh.
that you're from Brooklyn, and that I'm from Brooklyn, it feels like home.
There you go. I'll even bring bagels to the event for you.
I'm going to hold you to
Okay.
that. So, first of all, many people know you, but many people don't. Can you share a little bit about, just briefly, how you got started in chiropractic at all?
Yep. I went through a healing crisis in my life, and which kind of led me to, I was really down and out, Danny. At one point in my life, I just really wasn't functioning well, and my life spiraled down. Things got really bad, in my life. I couldn't work. I wound up actually being disconnected from family and friends, and my life really took a turn, really for the worse. And I wound up literally unemployed, broke, destitute, fighting with family, had no place to go. And I wound up literally on the couch of my sister's house. Again, lost all hope, lost all despair. At this point in my life, I was sick. I had diabetes already in my early 30s. High blood pressure. I was nearly 450 pounds. And my body was in just a great state of breakdown. I was disconnected physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I wound up, believe it or not, my mom knew that I was kind of really in just dire need. And she sent me to a yoga ashram of all places. And I ran into somebody over there. And, for me, chiropractic was always about, I was in car accidents. I went to the chiropractor, I got my neck adjusted, and I, the next day I was on my way. And I wound up in a chiropractor's office that really just, I knew it was different. I knew the vibration was different. I didn't know why. But he wasn't going to allow me to go down that path. He was really strong. He was really firm in his own principles. And he wasn't going to let me be there for the reasons that I thought was going to be there. He needed me to know that I was disconnected, and it was more about my back that I was there for. And, I remember the day really well. I'll never forget. It's like my birthday, it's like, but I remember it. And, what was really just very powerful, Danny, was that I laid on this guy's table, Michael Schaefer's table, for 8 hours. And he would come in the room, he would ask me why I was there, he would listen and walk back out. And what really came to me after hours of living there is that I created my own destiny there. Before I was a victim, before, hey, it was my family, before it was, hey, my health issues. But it was the first time in my life that I really got, this was about me. And that's what he needed me to see, that in order for us to partner and be in a relationship, that I had to care more about myself than he did. And so it was a very powerful time in my life where I started to realize, like, wow, I've been looking at life and my life went from literally, not just words, from darkness to light. Like, I could start to see things in a very clear way right after I started to get adjusted. So for me, chiropractic really wasn't ever about, in the beginning part of my life, it was about my back pain and my issues, but it really became more of an expansion of my life. Who am I? How am I going to evolve in my life? And that's what chiropractic has really been for me. It's been a metaphor for really living my life.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why you inspire me, because I see chiropractic that same way. I'm really excited that you're going to be at our Mile High event August 22nd to 24th, that you're one of the speakers, because I know that's where you live. And in a very big part, your event in the Berkshires, okay, which I affectionately call Garber Fest, is which is coming up in a couple weeks. What's the date of it?
April 4th to April 6th.
Okay, April 4th to April 6th, which is coming up pretty soon, was a big part my inspiration to say that you know what I can do this. So what I would like people to get is what was your inspiration? What led you to launch your event? When did it launch? How many years it's been going? And why? Tell me about your inspiration and why with it.
Well, originally, Danny, I sat down with a local chiropractor. I just moved back to the area. I practiced in Australia, and I moved back into the area, and I wanted to be connected to chiropractors. I wanted to be part of their community and have them part of mine, and really to work together. And I sat down with Kevin Flynn and his wife Jackie, and we talked about getting people to our area. And I've always been involved with Peter. Peter's been a great mentor of mine, and I was involved, and still am involved with MACP. And in fact, that was the first time I've ever heard you speak at Peter's MACP a couple of years ago.
I remember that.
And I talked to Peter because I didn't want it to be a competition, and Peter was great. Peter said to me, Scott, we need more of this, not less of this. And I thought about it, and I spoke to Kevin. I said, let's get a list of speakers and really start creating, an event in our area, drawing people to our area. And truthfully, I think it was before the whole epoch, evolution of things. And, as we started to talk, I said, hey, look, I have all these great speakers that want to come up. Let's really put together a great event. And so we did. We put together the first event in a place called Crown Plaza. And, I got to be honest, it was a disaster for me. It was an embarrassment. We had great people show up. The speakers were great. But the staff was dropping food, and the room was cold, and we would ask them. It was like not a level of, well, you already told us, sir, we're working on it. And I thought, I didn't really want to expose my guests, to that energy of just not caring. It was dark. It was damp. And so we started to look around for another place. And and that's how Cranwell became about. Is that we looked for another place that was light, that we could work with the staff, that was upscale, that was really going to create the atmosphere and the quality that we wanted to create. Because I didn't want to do the same old, and I'm not putting down any other group at all. New Beginnings is great. It's great for what they do. Jim has done an incredible job of gathering people and educating people, but I wanted to do something just a little different. I really wanted to focus on uplifting people and giving people the sense of esteem of wow, this is the way chiropractic should live. And so we found Cranwell, and the first year was just amazing. The response was, the rooms are incredible, the atmosphere is incredible. Literally the backdrop for the speakers of this event is the Berkshire Mountains. And it's held in an old castle that was owned by Sloan, who was the furniture manufacturer in the early 1900s. And he built this really incredible place. And so Cranwell worked out a really great arrangement for us to come to totally use that facility. And so we did it the first year. We had fabulous speakers. I've really been lucky in that I've always been able to draw just the most incredible people. And we went, and it just continued to grow each year. We really have literally doubled in size this year. We basically have almost maxed out the place. And for me, it's the fellowship of getting chiropractors together, of having a good time, having the esteem, bringing good quality content. And so the development over it, and this is an exciting thing for Friday, is that we're doing the format totally different this year. We have Andy Roberts, who's going to lead it off and speak for literally an hour and a half, followed by Keith Wassung, who's going to do the same. So we didn't limit the content, and so what we're hoping and what we're trying to do is have somebody come in that'll be there for an hour and a half, so the folks can take away something and say, you know what, I saw Keith Wassung and I saw Mark Swerdlick, and I got great ideas about communication and great ideas about marketing, and wow, these are gems I'm literally going to take away. And also with the whole idea of inspiring people and spizzing people and getting people lit up. So I really wanted to create, an event that, and for, IFCO, that people were really coming and not just having a high spizz weekend, but really having, esteem filled and being around great people. And as you know, when you create that, the energy is just a buzz. And so I have people all the time saying, this is the best event I ever went to because there's a buzz about it.
Right. Now, I want to ask you something, which is that why do you think, and I'm going to ask this carefully because I don't think there's any other event like this in chiropractic. However, why do you think it's important for chiropractors to go to events like yours or like DE or like Calgent? Why is it, they're all different, but why is it important for chiropractors to do that?
Danny, because we're really in a profession where we draw people to us as we grow. And years ago, I had a mentor in Australia, and he was just very powerful. And Danny, and as you know, because I think you're there and you've seen it with Donnie. I sat down with Eric one day and I said, Eric, how is it that people travel all over the country from Australia and New Zealand to come to see you? How the hell do they really find you? And he said, Scott, as you learn and as you develop yourself and as you grow, God will put those people in front of you, or call it whatever you want to do. I don't want to insult people, but, in his words, that, the level of your consciousness will really allow you to help people in those ways. And that those people will really seek you out because you're at their level of being able to serve them. And so for me, chiropractic has been about an evolution. It's really been about me and a reflection really of myself. As I've grown, as I've gotten great mentors, and I got a lot of great mentors in chiropractic, Peter, Mark Swerdlick, Andy Roberts, all these people that are literally coming to my event this week are my mentors. They've always been, Matt, I think the world of Matt and Christopher Kent. Growing up in chiropractic when I first started, Christopher Kent was it. It's like, we're going to see Christopher Kent this weekend. Who's Christopher Kent? And now it's sort of like Christopher Kent speaking at my event. And he's been a great mentor of mine.
It's surreal.
It is. It's really incredible. And so, for me, it's just surrounding myself with those people and really picking their brains and understanding, how they're contributing to my life, and just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, in the evolution of this seminar, we just took it one more step this year. And, I have vendors, which I never did. And what I really wanted to do is expose the people in our profession to the highest quality of people that really support us, which are these speakers. Matt McCoy, was his insurance, and, the Vertebral Subluxation Foundation and ICPA. And what I literally did is not took organizations that I don't use and that, I don't support, if you would, and really kind of made it about, these are the people that see eye to eye with me, that have uplifted me, and let's put them on the stand this week so people can see what they're about and really supporting them. Because for me, the whole process of doing this and giving money back and using the proceeds is to really support those that support us. And I think that, Christopher Kent or Matt said it well, we need to support those as opposed to supporting the destruction, of what we don't. And so for me, it's the next evolution of doing that. And so one of the things that I did, with Peter Kowalski and Mark Swerdlick, is that I looked at what I did last year and said, how could we make it much better this year? And we went and just invested in a great sound system, an audio system, and projectors. And it's just been a great learning for me. And I feel like not only was there a cost savings that I'll be able to pass on to the profession, Danny, but I grew a lot. Like, I'm excited about learning about things I never learned about. Projectors. Who would have thought I'd be investigating projectors? And now I know everything about projectors because these people helped me and put me in contact with the right people. And so for me, the excitement of evolving and learning and getting things, is this what draws it to me? Yes, it's a lot of work, but it helps me to grow.
So for people that, before we go any further with asking you a few other questions, for people that have not registered for your event yet, how can they register? How can they get there?
Danny, if they're on Facebook, we have an event page,
Okay.
Berkshire Triune Philosophy event on April 4th to April 6th.
Okay.
They could register they could go there. We could send them the links for it. We have a website, and I'm ashamed to say that I didn't even think of actually bringing with me to say it. In terms of I really didn't come on to promote it. But if people just contact me, through my email, which is Dr. Scotty 2000 at yahoo.com, which is Dr_Scotty SCOTTI 2000 at yahoo.com. I'll get them all the details, and we'll get them plugged in.
And I love that. I really feel, I perceive from all the way across the country here that this is an innate production. So I really appreciate that.
Yes, it definitely is. It's funny because people always say to me, it must be hard to really put on the event. And, it's work. It is work. And as you would know, doing the same thing. But you know what? It really is. Everything that's really falling into place, and the staff that I'm working with, and the facilities, and, working with Peter, who actually, Peter Kevorkian this year is going to be emceeing our event.
Wow.
And as you know, Peter is a detailed person, and I'm getting 4 emails a day from Peter Kevorkian in Brazil. Scott, do you have this organized, and who's going to be doing this? And so it really steps up my game, because Pete is really making me live up to it and do the work.
Right.
Because I'm just like, well, Innate will take care of it type of thing. But Peter is the Innate of my life right now. And so it is an Innate production. I mean, it's just, I'm really amazed that this group, which is an incredible group of speakers, are coming along to really to deliver this weekend. And it just really, I feel blessed. The times were all well, and it was just, in the universe for them to be able to come together to do this.
And on that note, I will tell you, I am super excited that you're going to be out in Colorado. Have you been to Colorado before?
I've never been, and I'm looking excited. I got my hotel. I'm all booked, and all ready to go, and so we're looking forward to coming out there.
Colorado is beautiful in the summer, I've got to tell you. So you're gonna love it. August is a great time. What are you? And I'm psyched for you speaking. What are you going to be sharing when you speak out here? What are you going to share?
I'd like to share about, again, my evolution of chiropractic. Where I started, where I am now. And a lot of Danny, in my own personal speaking life, is stuff that I've really taken, which is really everyday stuff that I've learned, and I communicate to patients. And, in doing so, it really has made me think about, and I'll give you a for instance, Danny, and it'll probably be the topic of, when we focus on pain. For me, pain is, and my own pain, physical, emotional, spiritual pain, really was my anchor to the world, right? And so for me, society, we have it all wired that, pain is a bad thing, run away from it. But for me in my life, my own pain has allowed me to greatly perceive and adapt to my environment. And so my talk will probably focus around perceiving and adapting in our environment.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm psyched for it. I'm psyched to be at your event in a couple weeks. It's going to be, I'm thrilled and tickled pink about that. I'm so excited you're going to be out here. And I want to tell you what else I'm excited for. I'm excited for when you, me, and Andy Roberts decide to have the Brooklyn Bagel Philosophy Program. We have to set that up next.
Danny, I'll tell you something interesting, and I'm going to make it happen. The facility, Cranwell, doesn't allow me to bring in food. I have to order from them.
Right.
And I told them that this was non-negotiable. I said, you can't produce bagels like I could produce bagels. And so I'm going to have Brooklyn Bagels at this event. And
wow.
It's going to happen.
Wow, awesome.
And that's worth the trip alone. I mean, if you've never, and you could tell, the people that are here, if you've never really had a Brooklyn bagel, that's worth it. Even if you don't care about the speakers or anything else, come for the Brooklyn bagel.
Yeah, and if you're gluten intolerant and all that, just have the Brooklyn bagels. It's like you have to do it.
Yeah, it'll take care of the gluten problems for you.
That's right. So it's great to spend this time with you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. And thank you for being an inspiration and for lighting the way for others and helping others get more tuned in to tick and really turning up the tick meter in your part of the country.
Likewise, Danny. Listen, I thank you for taking the time out this morning. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in just 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So great lineup. Get there if you haven't, and if you haven't registered yet, and we'll see you there.
And I look forward to you. By the way, before we go, I look forward to we're going to be speaking Monday night up in Sherman Connect Hall.
That's right, and we're going to do Sherman Connect. So, and I know that Sherman Connect call is going to have more listeners by far than lots of other people. We're going to outdo Jack Borla and Liam Schubel and Mark Swerdlick and Andy Roberts. Okay? So,
Right. Not looking to outdo them, just looking to actually get more great information out there.
Well, no, just in terms of listeners. We're just going to have more listeners.
Right.
So we'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right, Danny. Thanks again. Thanks for your time.
All right.
Have a great day.